There we go. Oh, technology, learning so much this week, so many changes on Facebook, through Meta, all the things. So I am super excited to be talking to everyone today. For those of you joining us, let me see. There we go. For those of you joining us, we're going to be talking about the geography of our region a little bit, especially if you are PCSing to our area or are relocating in general. Our area has a few little quirks and things that may or may not be different from, where you're coming from. So I wanted to make sure to address some of those things I learned when I moved here a number of years ago that I thought would be beneficial and helpful to share with you also. And I am live right now. So if you have questions that come up, please feel free to drop them in the comment section. I will see them and try to answer your questions, and would love for this to be a full conversation instead of me just regurgitating information. But again, otherwise, hopefully this will be helpful to you. So again, today, for those of you joining us, today we are going to be talking about the geography of Fredericksburg. A lot of times we use the term Fredericksburg to encompass like a pretty wide area. And it's kind of interesting because unlike other areas, we have city names that double as county names, and we have county names that have various mailing addresses and mailing address cities. And so I like to kind of help explain that and break that up a little bit so that, we can understand what we're talking about when you might say that you're moving to Fredericksburg from a real estate perspective. I like to try to whittle that down and figure out, okay, well, when they say Fredericksburg, exactly where are they wanting to look? So I'm going to bring up a map here. One second. And we're going to go ahead and try to share screen. So let's see. Okay, so you should be able to see my map screen now, and you can ignore all my little flags and things. But what this is Fredericksburg area, of course. So you can see, Quantico up here toward the top, Woodbridge area. Here's 95 coming down the center, and then of course we have Route 3, and we have 17 splitting the 17 corridor. And so I think of Fredericksburg in quadrants. So if you're looking at this map and you use 95 as a, roughly north-south split, and then I actually use the Rappahannock River here as the, again, roughly east to west split. And I use the Rappahannock River because north of the river is, for the most part, Stafford County until you get up past to the Quantico area. And then south of the river is going to be Spotsylvania County, other than the true city of Fredericksburg, which is actually just one zip code right in the heart of downtown. And so if you are looking at a cleared out map, look for 95, look for the river, and that's going to give you 4 quadrants. So once you have your quadrants broken out, typically, especially if you're military and moving in on a PCSing, most people are going to be in the northwest quadrant. So a lot of people like to live up in this area north of the river and west of 95. This is going to be a combination of a Fredericksburg mailing address as well as a Stafford mailing address, but it's all Stafford County. Of course, until you get up again to Quantico and North, and we're moving into different counties. But I'm focusing on, Quantico South down into the lower section of where a Fredericksburg mailing address would come into. So I think a lot of people are often surprised to hear that your address might be like 123 Banana Street, Fredericksburg, Virginia, but you could be in Stafford County. So this 17 corridor right here, where you see where it says Heartwood, Payne's Corner, Holly Corner on the Southern Gateway. This whole section is all Fredericksburg mailing address. It's South Stafford County. So it's the southern portion of the county, and that runs over into this section lower right above the river also. The cool thing about having a Fredericksburg mailing address and a Stafford County location is that you would be in the Stafford County school districts at that point. So again, for the most part, a lot of military folks are moving, families are moving into this area. 17, there are a lot of back roads you can take, as you can see, to hit the 610 Garrisonville, or even go further up to the back gates of Quantico. So you do have a lot of options. In this area, you're also going to find a lot of larger communities, as well as communities with some acreage lots, especially out in this section of 610, where you can see Heflin, Tackett's Mill, that area. 610 is Garrisonville. Right along here is where the primary shopping is for the Stafford area. So that's Stafford City mailing address, as well as Stafford County. And this is also going to be your closest into 95 and Highway 1 to get up to Quantico. This Aquia Harbor community is a very popular area up there also. Aquia Harbor is a large neighborhood that almost is its own little community. But this Garrisonville area is where you're going to find the major shopping centers. And then again, along out 610 area, grocery, coffee shops, all those kinds of items, restaurants, things like that. But so if you, again, look back and think of this as a quadrant, for the most part, this northwest quadrant is going to be very popular for PCSing families. South of the river is typically a little less expensive. We're moving into Spotsylvania County. The further you get away from Quantico, DC, things like that, typically the prices improve a little bit. And at that point, you will be in Spotsylvania County school districts. Again, unless you're in the city of Fredericksburg. The city of Fredericksburg is a 22401 zip code. So you can filter that in or out, then you would be in city schools. But again, a really popular area is right along Route 3, which is where we have Wegmans and the mall and other shopping centers such as that. So right around 3 in this more populated area. So in this area, just south of the river and north of 3 is very popular. Very blue ribbon school districts up through here, through the reservoir in Chancellorsville. There's a lot of battlefield and private protected land in this area of Chancellorsville. So you get, again, typically communities with a little bit more acreage, things of that nature. And then down into this more populated area, hopefully you can see my mouse okay. So south of Route 3 and west of 95, you're going to find a lot of communities also, such as Salem Fields and Fox Point, and some of the big community names that you might have seen if you've been hunting for homes. And those are a little bit further commute. We do have express lanes that are being worked on, and it will extend down through the river. But for commuting purposes, getting across the river on 95 and here in Falmouth on Route 1 does back up. We do have that traffic. And so typically in this area, south of 3 and west of 95, you're looking at more of a 30 to 45 minute commute to Quantico, assuming traffic is flowing. And same thing down into like the Cosner's Corner area. A lot of houses down to the east of 95 in this Artillery Ridge, and kind of where I'm circling, there's a big community called Lee's Hill. Another popular area for relocating families, a lot of single family homes, great amount of square footage. And then for perspective, again, 45 minutes to an hour in Quantico, depending on traffic. So it really just depends. We do have multiple VRE stations, which is the Virginia Railway Express, and that is a commuter train. So there is a stop out this direction, out like kind of in this area where it says Olive down here. There's one downtown. There's one up here in this Leland area. Leland Station is a big community that's very popular also. And then, of course, there is another station up in the Brook Point area, which is way up here. So, and on it to the east of 95, different section of Stafford County. But that really gives you a rough overview of our geography. I hope that was helpful. Probably had a lot more questions now, but some of the what typically we discuss real estate in terms of zip codes. That really helps you narrow down areas within the county. So the other big conversation I tend to have with people is, if you're up off of in the Garrisonville area, you're closer to Quantico, then yes, you will have Stafford County schools. You're going to be closer to a work commute, but a lot of shopping, movie theaters, bowling, Costco, Wegmans, the mall, everything like that is south of the river in that Route 3 section. And so, part of the discussion I have with people, and there's no right or wrong answer, it's whatever's right or wrong for you and or your family, is do you want to live where the commute is going to be the easiest, or do you want to live where you're the closest to things that you're going to be doing while you're just having life. And so, if you feel like you want to go downtown a lot and enjoy, restaurants and things of that nature, then, making sure that you have a little bit easier access to downtown might be crucial. Otherwise, it can be quite a drive on the weekends. Again, our traffic is significant. And so it's just knowing when that traffic is going to occur and working around it. But, you have to, it all kind of goes back to that work-life balance. Do I want to live by where I'm going to work? Do I want to live by where I'm going to have activities and things I'm going to be doing a lot? I personally have lived off of exit 126. That's where I live currently. And I am in the south, like really more southern Spotsylvania County. I'm still a Fredericksburg mailing address. And I personally love it. I'm like 20 minutes to downtown. I can take back roads to Central Park. A lot of flexibility, but I'm very fortunate that I don't have to go to Quantico or up north. I've also lived off of 17 in the southern Stafford County area before, and there's a lot of perks to that area also. So it really just depends on what you're looking for, but talking with myself or another realtor who lives in this area is really critical. I know sometimes it's tempting to work with an agent who's maybe from Northern Virginia or Richmond or like a surrounding area, but if you don't live, work, and play right here, it's really, really tough to give advice and share experiences. Like, I know which back roads back up. I know which back roads have crazy blind corners that you probably don't want to live directly off of. I know where the parks are that have the infant swings, all those little things that unless you live, work, and play right in the community, it's really tough to help advise. So if those things, knowing the geography, getting the lay of the land are important to you, definitely highly recommend that you reach out to myself or another local agent and dig into this geography a little bit more. Kind of find out, make a list of what are the most important things to you to be near. Do you want to be in a 10 or 15-minute drive of schools, parks, things of that nature? Do you need to be in proximity to a commuter lot or a VRE station? And being able to communicate to your agent those items that are most important will help us go, okay, it sounds like you want to be in the 22406 zip code. We'll know those zip codes and then the communities that are most likely to match, the other things like size house you need, price point. But being able to provide all that information to us is going to be really helpful. And narrowing down geography is a really crucial first step. So I hope you found all of this really helpful. If you have questions and maybe you're seeing this and I'm not live anymore, please feel free to still drop some comments or questions, or send me a direct message. I am happy to answer any questions you might have. And I look forward to welcoming you to our area. And until then, I will see you next week.